Learn today's latest January updates as we discuss breaking news. The club are looking to sign Joao Felix on loan in January. To move on, we discuss the latest advancements for Badiashile, and to end things, let's discuss Edson Alvarez from Ajax, because are we getting ready to sign the midfield player in the January window? So today's video, my friends, we got a ton of things to break down and discuss. I hope you guys enjoy. I hope you guys had an amazing Christmas yesterday. I hope you got waved, you ate goods, and hopefully got the presents and gifts you were hoping to receive. Now, quick disclaimer, I'm not going to have a preview out for today because I've got some Christmas commitments right now. Hopefully maybe in the morning, I'm not too sure, but tomorrow I'm going to do a live stream for our game versus Bournemouth, so make sure you guys stay tuned and watch it with me. Hit that like button if you had a great Christmas, and getting straight into the first story. Now, we know that The Athletic was the first publication to actually break the story, but today there's been more confirmation from French media as well as Fabrizio Romano. Currently, and I think as we should know, we are in advanced stages now to sign Badiashile. Now, Badiashile has had a ton of interest from clubs like Sevilla, Newcastle, and most notably from Man United. Is that Man United tried to sign him in the summer, but couldn't get him. Now that it's been leaked that we are trying to sign him, could that force Man United to come back in to try and sign the player? I wouldn't be surprised. 30 million in Premier League terms is not much at all, and to sign a player of Badiashile's potential for 30 million for me is an absolute bargain in today's market. Now, the reason for the low value is based on the fact that his contract does expire in 2024. Monaco understand that this is the perfect opportunity now to get maximum amount of money by selling him in January. So currently, we are not too far away now from getting this deal over the line. This news has been really surprising for me, and I'm sure it's been surprising for a lot of you, but there could be a lot of sense of reasoning behind why we're doing things. But at the same time, it gets me thinking, what is the approach? Now, I understand in the summer, listen, Todd Boehly just came in, we had to keep things running, and that's why he probably felt encouraged to give Thomas Tuchel the keys, because at the time, he was a manager that he really bought into and really believed in. So Tuchel makes the signings, in comes Koulibaly plus others, but maybe some of the new signings haven't particularly lived up to the hype and the promise that all of us, and most notably the owners, were hoping they'd have. Maybe this is why Boehly and the transfer committee team feel compelled to make a move for Badiashile now to sign him in January. You'd imagine that he'd get 30 minutes, and if so, what does this mean for players like Cucurella or potentially guys like Koulibaly? Now, there's been many conflicting reports coming out from Italy suggesting that many Serie A clubs are keeping their eyes out for Koulibaly, and reports are saying that he hasn't really impressed much of the management at the club, especially in Graham Potter too. So now that Boehly is literally buying all the right staff members and building the teams that he wants to see to create this vision of Chelsea Football Club that he originally had, maybe he's deciding, you know what, we're fully going into this new approach right now. We're not wasting any time, and if that means that sacrifices have to come now, knowing that in the long term it will be rewarded, let's do things. And I say this because, Badiashile is surprising to me when we have a player like Levi Colwill, who, I kind of always expected this kid to finally eventually break into that Brighton team, probably around the new year. He's had a great game today versus Southampton, and at 19 years old, there's not many team players with that composure and ability like Colwill is showing. Why would you make a move for Badiashile when you have a talent like this? But maybe I'm not seeing things properly. Once the next season comes, potentially guys like Thiago Silva could be gone. Azpi could be gone as well too. And maybe even Koulibaly could be sold instantly without us having to pay the remaining amount of money back to Napoli. If that's the case, then we're left with guys like Fofana and Trevor Chalobah, which isn't enough. So if we're able to then sign Badiashile, bring back Levi Colwill, and still commit to signing Gvardiol, I guess 5 centre-backs is a healthy amount, and knowing the fact that we could be using the left-back in the future, similar to how Man City are using Nathan Ake. Guys like Badiashile and players like Gvardiol, who, even though we're trying to sign Badiashile, we have not ruled ourselves out from signing Gvardiol in the summer window. And with ambition like this, and with money like this, it's got me thinking what the plan is, and it's got me thinking that maybe I should think outside the box in terms of the long-term plan that Boehly wants to build at this club. And if that's the case, then maybe I can understand what the plan is and what the vision is too. Before I end things, imagine a back four of Gvardiol and then Colwell and players like Fofana and Reece James, knowing that there's competition places behind and your Badiashile and your Chalobahs. That could be a very interesting and very well balanced offensive five. So what's your thoughts and opinions? How do you feel about Badiashile? Let us all know in the comments, you guys. So right now, let's end things by discussing the latest news behind Edson Alvarez. So right now, let's discuss the breaking news on Joao Felix, reported by Mike McGrath, as he reports that we are eyeing a move to sign Joao Felix in the January window. Now for me, this is a very, very obvious move to make. I'll share my thoughts and opinions once I break down the news reports first. So let's start with the reports, and he states that we are looking to sign Joao Felix on loan with an option to buy at the end of the deal. Now we know that will most likely be like a very big loan signing fee, but in regards to the option to buy, well, that's fully dependent on the value that Atleti place on Joao Felix, with reports suggesting, or rumours actually suggesting, that they could want around £86 million to sell Joao Felix in the next window, which could actually make some sense. Regardless though, Felix and Simeone have fallen out. And for me, I think it's quite obvious. When you're a young player like Joao Felix, who wants to be one of the best players in the world, if you can't play your best football, if the manager does not do things tactically to get the best out of your game, you will stagnate and you won't reach that potential. Now, interestingly enough, Matheus Cunha, who recently signed for Wolves, and his agent confirmed that his client was really suffering and struggling with Simeone, so it's really no surprise. Regardless, we got some information behind how we would hope to use Joao Felix if he does sign for us alone, with the reports saying that he would be played down the left hand side, with someone like Kai Havertz playing up front. Now, for me, if you're someone that's watched Joao Felix, if you watch Joao Felix play for Portugal recently in the World Cup, he does his best work on the left-hand side in that left channel. Obviously, Raheem Sterling for me is much better on the right-hand side compared to the left, and Kai Havertz can kind of play anywhere, left, right, and up front too. So I feel like this is a very common sense type of move to make. And for any fan kind of concerned about the risk with this potential move, I would say don't take his form at Atletico Madrid to heart too seriously. I mean, come on you guys. It's Simeone, they play negative defensive football. The midfield doesn't really control games either. What can attacking players do if the minerals behind you isn't up to your required standards? You're not going to do much. But for me though, I would say that his form for Portugal, especially in the World Cup, is way more reflective of what he can do and what he brings. And the fact that you can sign him on loan, for me, it's just an obvious common sense move to make. I'm going to share my thoughts and opinions, and I'm really going to continue on. Who can you sign in January offensively? Who is available? Even if you have the money, clubs will reject that and don't want to sell. It's not going to happen. The fact that a player like Joao Felix, it just feels like such a unicorn in this market, can be signed on loan, knowing the fact that most big clubs and your rivals don't need attacking reinforcement, and maybe your major competition might be in Arsenal, but you'd imagine that we would sign Joao Felix all day. And there's a bit of a bonus from actually signing Joao Felix because his agent is Jorge Mendes, and you'd imagine if we do a favour by signing one of his clients, he will constantly push forward his future clients towards us, which gives us an amazing advantage when it comes to signing guys from him. It makes a lot of sense, and for me, I've always been a big fan of Joao Felix. For me, it's the kind of like Kaka-esque type of like running style and dribbles, the invention, the flair, the skill, and for God's sakes, you guys, we don't score goals. Our highest attacking goal scorer has 3 goals. I think that's Raheem Sterling. That's not good enough. This team is crying out for someone that can consistently get past his man. And Joao Felix is one of those players where, you know, some people may be a bit concerned, does he play on the left, up front, the right? What is his main position? Guys like him, Havertz, and a few others, they're kind of like systemless players. It's really about how you play as a team that gets the best out of these guys compared to the actual position they're really playing in. That's because Joao Felix, not only can he score goals and be that match winner, he can also create equally as well too, and he has different threats with his dribbling skills as well too, which attracts opponents towards him. This is the key thing that is needed in our attack. I'm hoping that we're going to move to a 4-3-3, with Mount moving deeper away from this attacking mid position. He's been good there. That's not his long-term position. Get more suited 1v1 specialists in those positions, and I guarantee you'll see improvements in many a player across this team. It's an obvious move to make, so I'm really hoping this move can get finalized and sealed soon. We'll be incredibly excited to see Joao Felix, and it wouldn't really be a surprise that if he was successful and we can't do any business for Leao, then you'd keep Joao Felix and he could easily play alongside Nkunku, Havertz, and of course others in the team too. I actually spoke about like how a hypothetical team with Felix could look once Nkunku signs, and I could easily see like a 4-2-3-1 where you just have constant like formation fluidity, constant rotations, you know, with guys like Joao Felix cutting inside, Havertz cutting inside, and Nkunku free roll. I can see that, and knowing how Graham Potter has coached Brighton too, I can see how all these guys would complement playing together as well too. So for me, this is incredibly exciting news. Let's hope we get this done, and let's hope that Joao Felix can come in to secure our top 4 hopes, because if there's one thing that has to get secured this season, that is getting Champions League football for next season with no fails. So you guys, how do you feel about this news? Are you excited or are you feeling a bit nervous? Let us know below. Now today, The Athletic did report that we could potentially be coming back in to sign Alvarez in January. And that's because when we failed to sign him at the end of the last transfer window, Todd Boehly actually promised the player that we would come back in for him and sign him in January. At the time, Alvarez was very upset that the move did not go through. He did everything in his power to force a move through for very good reason, because obviously there is a massive possibility that we might not be interested in Alvarez in future windows. And I guess for myself personally, I'm still rather curious as to whether we would still commit to trying to sign Alvarez. As to give you guys like a bit of a heads up behind how his season's progressed, he's had another very good season. I think one thing I really like about Edson Alvarez is that this guy's mentality, you know, his willingness to learn, you know, the dedication to his craft. You know, every season he improves and improves and improves. At the time, you know, he was mainly more of a defensive option. Maybe his passing from the back and kick-starting moves wasn't ideal, but now he can do that. He's had a good season for Ajax, and I thought he had a very good World Cup playing for Mexico. Now for myself, I could see him being worth the type of gamble. I think that he's shown enough now over a few seasons to give me some faith and confidence that he could be a very astute DM in our team. And knowing the fact too that many reports have said that Graham Potter has been training a back 4 ever since the World Cup's been taking place, is giving you an idea that the future is having a DM in front of our defence. But at the same time, I think for me, we're linked with so many top midfield players that all kind of do different things, and if you commit to either one, they could have like really big consequences in regards to how the team is shaped in the future. Big names like Enzo Fernandez, Declan Rice, Frenkie De Jong, they're all top players in their own right, but if you commit to either one, each one of these mids has a long-term effect on how our team could shape out to be and how they could play. So for me, I want us to be particularly careful with who we invest big money in midfield, because for me, the midfield player we have to sign has to be here for the next 5 to 10 years and has to be the key guy that kind of is like one of the faces of the team, and it's the type of guy that you kind of build the team around. For example, if you have Enzo Fernandez, it tells me that you want to play maybe with a bit more control, possession, and have someone alongside him to help out defensively. If you go for a Declan Rice, you want a DM that is great at, you know, protecting his defense, killing counter-attacks, and giving more offensive freedom for your attacking players to obviously get forward. If you're going for Frenkie De Jong, then you're probably playing with a pivot and using the back 3. So I want there to be like a real consistent plan for whoever we sign in midfield. On one hand, could you have Alvarez and potentially a Declan Rice in the summer? I guess you could, but it would seem like overkill, especially when maybe an Alvarez wouldn't play as much over a Declan Rice. Maybe something is happening behind the scenes with Alvarez, because recently Ajax have been heavily linked with River Plate's Alan Valera, who's a really good CDM playing in Argentina. So they're already planning for life after Alvarez, which could imply that Alvarez could be a guy you can sign in the next window. It'll be very interesting to see what happens. Definitely watch the space, but I feel realistically we'll sign maybe one loan player, one surprise player, and then 2 players that we need to help with the team. So you guys now know I'm going to wrap things up, keep things moving. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the live stream and the match review, so make sure you guys don't miss out. I'm the EFC, this is BlueLionsTV. I'll catch you guys later with some more videos. Cool.